Good morning. We're coming to you live from headquarters of Okta in San Francisco for Showcase21. So there's no tape delay, there's no recording, there's no editing. It's live. There's no fallback plan. We're coming at you live. We got a lot of great stuff for you to share with you today. We have an update on what's going on in the company. We're going to talk a lot about the customer identity opportunity, and specifically about Auth0 and all the exciting things that are going on with Auth0 and Okta. It was 6 months ago we joined forces with Auth0, and we've made a ton of progress in terms of customer momentum and communicating the value to the market, and we're going to share a lot of those stories with you here today. We have exciting product announcements. We've been innovating, and we're going to bring those announcements to you. And finally, we're going to hear from a few of our customers telling their story about how they're moving their businesses forward with identity. Let's get started with the momentum. It all starts from customer adoption and usage of our platform. And we're seeing billions and billions of authentications per month. That all translates into user satisfaction and into customer success. And it's not just the gross amount of authentications, it's also that customers are using Okta every day, all day. And that's because the number of digital touch points in everyone's life is growing exponentially. And identity is at the center of it all. Customers and employees, they want freedom to access technology from anywhere and do anything with it, which leads us to that growing customer base. It's 13,000 plus enterprise customers globally. I couldn't be more satisfied, and the team couldn't be more satisfied than with that number. But there's more. Auth0 has 13,000 over and above that additional paying self-service subscriptions. And over and above that, there's 40,000 more active free subscriptions. Developers trying the platform, incorporated into their hobby projects, incorporated into their starter projects at work. And those deployments grow, and they grow in value as those solutions grow from project starters to self-service to enterprise. So it's this massive community of developers and customers we're creating together. Speaking of that usage, it's growing dramatically. On the Okta side, those billions of authentications are up 117% year over year. Exciting progress there. And it's not just the volume of usage, it's the diversity of apps. In fact, the average Okta customer uses almost 90 applications to get their jobs done, to move their organizations forward. And in today's cloud-first and heterogeneous environment, choice and flexibility have never been more important. And that gets to one of our core innovations when we started Okta, which was the Okta Integration Network. It seems commonplace now that we've established this as the standard, but back when we started Okta, this was quite revolutionary. An identity platform that would come pre-integrated to every service and every technology and every application you needed to connect to. So today, the OIN has grown to be over 7,000 integrations strong, and it's connected to nearly every cloud application and many on-premise applications and technology as well. And what's even more exciting than that is this ecosystem is growing. In fact, every month, we get 200 monthly additional submissions to the OIN. These are not built by Okta. These are built by our customers, our community, our ecosystem, software vendors that want to get their application connect to Okta so their customers and our customers can benefit from it. Auth0, in addition to that, has 232 customer identity-specific integrations. So customers of Auth0 can do things like connect Auth0 to Salesforce, connect to fraud detection systems, and do everything you need to do to make that customer journey successful. And this is a powerful part of our strategy because this is an integration network effect. Why are these people submitting these integrations? Why are they connecting their technology to Okta? Well, it's because the customers are using that integration, and people building technology want to connect to those customers. And the more integrations we have, the more customers get value from our platform, and the customer base grows, which attracts more integration. And now you have this ecosystem which is evolving, covering every technology, not just today, but into the future as well. And that brings us to our first product announcement. You've heard me talk about the Workflows platform service before. It's an amazing low-code, zero-code visual programming environment that makes Okta completely programmable. So using the Workflows platform service, you can program into Okta anything you need it to do. But previously, this was only available with our advanced lifecycle management product. But today, we're excited to make workflows available as a standalone offering that customers can use for any identity use case. The adoption of the Workflows platform service as part of the advanced lifecycle management product has been amazing, and it's blown us away. But customers have told us continuously they want to do more. For example, they want to do things like detect when an account is compromised based on a device being compromised and shut that account down and specify some specific processing to make that happen exactly as the customer wants it to happen based on their rules. Or through the customer journey, they want to be able to detect when an anonymous user comes to their website, and as that user engages with our customers more, they can get more information and upgrade that profile from an anonymous user to a registered user to a full customer identity in a way that makes sense for each specific company. So with workflows for any identity use case, you can cover all of these types of use case and many, many more. In fact, anything you can dream up. You're only limited by your imagination. So what are the details of this? We're offering 5 workflows or 5 flows at no additional cost to all customers to get started. To make this easier, we're also providing 2 additional new connectors. The Workflow platform service needs these connectors to connect all of the technology in your ecosystem. And the 2 new ones are a connector to the Jamf management platform and also to Microsoft Teams. We're providing templates to help you get started quickly and easy. Templates that specifically help you do things around suspicious activity alerts. So it's a workflow that when a user detects suspicious activities, they can report that suspicious activity and it gets routed to your security help desk or your notification tools to notify the right people. Or conditional access after document signatures. So you can only grant access to an application after a user signs a document which controls that they could get access to the service or application. These are templates to help you get started, but you can imagine how you could extend and enhance these far beyond this. So there's a few different pricing options that are available for you. We think once you get started with the 5 for free and get all the value from that, we think you'll want to use many more workflows because it's so powerful and lets you do so many things. And there's a variety of pricing options all the way to an unlimited option that's a paid option far above the 5 free flows. So we're not quite ready to do the following yet, but where this is going is the Workflows platform service eventually is going to be the how you actually build integrations with Okta and how customers and vendors and partners create fully expressive processes and programs that then fully connect technology to Okta. And you'll be able to upload those into the Okta identity network and share those with the community. That's where this is going. So you can see that this will further enhance this integration network effect, not only in terms of the number of different applications that are connected, but also the depth of those integrations. It's extremely powerful and exciting momentum on the integration network. But the momentum is also continuing in our business as well. And the growth rates, they really speak for themselves. And while today's event is mostly focused on customer identity, we are not taking our foot off the gas with workforce identity, which is growing 37% year over year. And there's a distinct advantage to having one company provide both customer identity and workforce identity. First of all, it's the ecosystem, as we talked about with the Okta integration network. The more integrations attract the more customers, deliver the most value, which attract more integrations, which keep you connected to all of your technology, both on the customer identity side and on the workforce identity side. There's key parts of the core technology that have to be built in a scalable, reliable, secure way that apply to both customer identity and workforce identity. And finally, identity is complicated, so it's really helpful to have a scaled, trusted partner to work alongside you in all of these use cases to help you solve these complicated problems. And we're right there next to you to help you do that. The customer identity business is growing extremely fast, 54% year over year. We're very excited about this. In fact, we're the leader by far in this market. The business now is at a size of $400 million in annualized contract value for the CIAM business. So that seems like a big number, and the growth rates are really exciting as well. But the reality is that this is still, customer identity is still an emerging market, and the complete solution is still evolving. There's questions and opportunities about what fits into the base product, what customers should extend and customize, what vendors should be integration points, what types of capabilities should be included. And with this scale, we can work with customers to help define where this market should be, what's the value, how to make a completely compelling, complete solution, so no one will ever try to build customer identity themselves again. Exciting business momentum, exciting ecosystem momentum, but for us, it's also important we build a team and a culture that does things the right way. We want to give more than we take. We've all benefited from the communities that we live and work in, and Okta for Good is our social impact arm, which helps us continue to invest in these communities globally. In fact, we've impacted over 2,000 global organizations so far through our employee giving and volunteering, and donated nearly $7 million to enable nonprofit tech adoption. Environmental, social, and governance, ESG, this continues to be a priority for us, and investing in people and the planet is more important to us than ever. We reached our goal of 100% renewable electricity for our global offices, and our employees work from home energy consumption. We couldn't accomplish any of this without our team, our employees. They're the ones making all of this happen. I'm incredibly proud and grateful for the 4,200 plus employees around the world who I love working with to build our vision. And it's this vision and our market opportunity which has allowed us to attract the best talent in the world. We've been delighted to welcome so many talented team members and leaders from Auth0 to our team as well. Earlier this year, we welcomed Susan St. Ledger as our president of worldwide field operations. And just this month, we added John Addison, our new general manager for EMEA. John joined us from LinkedIn. Another new leader is Sagnik Nandy. He's our president of technology and our CTO. He recently joined us from Google. What do you say we go meet him now? Thanks, team. Sagnik.
Hey, Todd.
Nice to see you.
Same here.
Thanks.
Very excited.
It's funny to meet you here. What a coincidence.
I know. Completely unplanned.
Well, welcome. So, you're actually a few months in here. It's been great to get to know you a little bit. And you've talked to a lot of customers. You've been talking to your team, the other people at Okta. What's inspired you through these conversations?
Todd, even before I joined Okta, I spoke to a bunch of my friends from outside who are very happy Okta customers, and two things really stood out in those conversations. Number one, just how critical and foundational identity is for all these companies. And secondly, just how much they trust Okta.
Yeah, you said your wife uses Okta at work.
Yeah.
That's really why you joined.
Wife and like a whole bunch of friends. Obviously, that's the thing. Like I always ask my wife for any decision. But these customers really trust Okta, and I have personally always found trust to be this very interesting sentiment because it can't be acquired. It has to be earned. Like so many people try to get trust, and it has to be earned. It's also something you can't compromise on. Think of your house. Would you ever get a locksmith who you don't trust? The answer is no. The same thing I think applies to your identity solution because in some ways they're like the locksmith and gatekeepers of your digital assets. So you want an identity solution that you can completely trust, and I think that's how people feel about Okta. But having spent a few months in here, I also see the other side of things, that how seriously we take this responsibility, how hard the whole team tries to make sure we keep earning this trust every day. So this combination of our customers really trusting us and us working so hard to maintain that trust is very inspiring.
Yeah, the trust point is really well made, and it's one of these things that it takes a lot of work to build it up, and it's a reputation you build over many years, and you have to be really vigilant because you could lose it quickly. So it's something that I'm really aligned on and excited about to make sure we maintain and enhance it.
I'm really looking forward to it.
So you're a developer. You spent like me, you spent the many years earlier in your career to building software and the challenges that come with that. As you join Okta, a big part of our business is not only IT departments and security, chief security officers, helping them be successful with technology, but also on the development side. How is coming inside Okta and bringing that developer's perspective to what you do shaped your views on that?
No, I mean, not saying this because you and I are developers, but developers have always been very scarce and valued group. And right now, I feel there's a tremendous demand for quality developers and their time. Identity is something all these companies and developers have to deal with and deal with in the right way. I also feel identity is something that can look deceptively simple to start with, but it's so complex. Just think of the challenges. You have to integrate with thousands of solutions, each with their own nuance. You have to get that right. The systems supporting identity have to be extremely resilient, reliable, very high throughput, ever-changing landscape of threats, multiple authentication approaches, and you always have to deal with so many different platforms, devices. So it's just a very complex space it's just easy to get it wrong. What Okta does really well, and I'm seeing this every day, is take care of all these solutions, provide something that seamlessly integrates into the developer workflow so that they can focus on other things and don't have to worry about identity. Okta also strikes the right balance by providing end-to-end solutions, but giving developers the right hooks, the right flexibility to customize these solutions if that's what they need for their business. I think it's a great combination.
When we first, many years ago, when we first started building the customer identity business and these APIs, I would talk to people about what we were doing, and they would say, well, how hard could this be? It's just a password page, and you reset the password. And it's one of those things where the first two features, you can think you can do them, but the complexity increases exponentially, and pretty soon you have to make sure your password resets are done in a way that's covered with multi-factor authentication, and there's not a complex attack flow through all the registration and reset. So it's really resonates that it's this, that, you might think you'd be able to do it quickly up front, but over time you're going to pay if you don't make the right decision there.
No, absolutely. Also, the cost of getting it wrong is so high. Like it's a very complex area.
So should companies build this themselves?
See, I know a lot of companies are facing the build versus buy discussion. My unbiased view is building this is very hard. And as I mentioned, the cost of getting it wrong is very high.
Did you have the same appreciation for that 6 months ago before you joined Okta?
I think identity is something in any company. I've spoken to so many of my friends in places. You want to get it right, and you want to make sure you use someone who gets it right. Like, think about Okta. This is what we do day in, day out. Relentless focus on customer success, making sure they're successful, making sure they're secure. So I would like to say that, like, use someone like Okta, use Okta to build this, because we'll get this right for you.
Yeah, and it does feel, just talking to customers and the market about this over the last few years, it does feel like the tide is changing. The sentiment that identity is something you should build yourself is really shifting. I think part of it is what I talked about in my opening about the complete solution being defined, and the maturity of that solution and more customers doing it gives people more confidence that they can take something off the shelf, and it'll be much better for them over time. So I got one more question for you. Just the first, and this can be a personal thing or it can be a work-related thing, but what's the biggest surprise since joining Okta?
I've had a bunch of pleasant surprises since joining Okta. If I had to mention one, it'll be the realization of just how much the opportunity is in front of us. Identity is so foundational to the success strategy of companies. It's just opening up so many opportunities. I'm an optimist, so it's not hard to guess where I stand in the debate of glass half empty, half full. But when it comes to our opportunities, I don't even think it's a case of glass half full. It's a glass that's completely full and overflowing, because two things are happening. We have great products and technology that we'll continue to evolve and innovate on. And we also have so many of the foundational pieces ready that customers want us to build on top of them to build new solutions. So I think this combination of evolving what we have and building new stuff based on what we have just opens up so many opportunities. At the end of the day, so many companies are taking an identity-first approach, really baking identity into what they do, which is setting them up for success. And I'm really looking forward to partnering with them to make that opportunity a reality.
One of the amazing things about being in the identity business is that it's connected to so many different things. The opportunities to go in different directions are very broad, and there's a lot of different ways you can go. And a lot of times, it's the hardest thing to do is just stay focused on the core things you're doing. So it's a good problem to have, so to speak, to have so much opportunities.
Very excited.
It's great to have you on the team. I can't wait to work with you in the years ahead, and we're going to do something amazing together.
I'm very excited, Todd.
So Sagnik talked about how identity is critical to developers, but it's way bigger than that. The entire world is shifting to identity first. So what are the trends driving this? And there's a few important ones. The first is cloud. More cloud computing. Every layer of the technology stack is being reinvented in some form as a cloud service. That's where all the innovation is. That's where organizations want to go for their technology. And that brings challenges when they try to manage it and secure it. The second is every organization is trying to build better digital experiences for their customers or their constituents. They want to make sure that they get new digital products in the market before some upstart comes and takes their market share, or they want to build the right digital complement to their existing products. That's a big, big pressure and a big, big opportunity on every organization. All this is great in terms of the opportunity, but it comes with more and more security risks. This technology not only has to be easy to use, but it has to be highly secure and made sure that there's no undue security risks. And remote work has really thrown a wrinkle in all of this. People need more flexibility than ever before. They need choice of location. They need choice of device. They need choice of the way they access these systems. So it's really important that we handle the remote work trend in a way that's friendly for end users and secure. We don't just see this in the trends. This is intuitive of us as end users. We see this in our own experience. If I think about my own personal apps and services that I use most often, I start listing off. They look like Gmail for work email, Gmail for personal email, Slack for business communication, Twitter for social, Spotify for music, TikTok. I'm just kidding. I don't use TikTok. I use a workout app to get my workouts and to track all my workouts called CompTrain, by the way. They use Auth0 for login. All of these applications, they run on different platforms. They're implemented in different programming language. They have web versions. They have mobile versions. These companies have different business model. Some are for work. Some are for personal. But the one thing that they all have in common is they all need to be specific for me. They need to be personalized for my experience. They need to be easy to access, and they have sensitive info, so they have to be secure. This is what identity first is. It's applications and services with the person, the user, at the center. And the companies that are building these apps, they're all thinking about identity first. At work, the requirements for ease of use and employee productivity and high security, they fall on the chief information officer or the chief security officer. And these folks are also thinking identity first. They have to get identity right to create productive and seamless experiences for their employees. The cloud and remote work have changed the security architecture, but make no mistake, the security architecture still needs to be secure. I think Gartner sums this challenge up well when they say identity first security. It puts identity at the center of security design. The new security world is zero trust. It's an important concept that really is getting groundswell and making progress in the world. What it means is that instead of the old world where you did security policy based on which computer or which firewall or which network was being accessed, in a zero trust world, security policy follows the user. So it's specific to whatever the user wants to do. It puts the user and identity at the center. With a zero trust approach, you get the best of both worlds. You get easy, seamless access. Employees are productive, and they have the best technology. And you get a decrease in the risk of security breaches and better compliance. And it's not just companies. Governments globally are starting to mandate a zero trust approach across the US, Europe, Australia, and Singapore. There are even specific directives, like a directive mandating multi-factor authentication and a zero trust architecture and an overall focus on cybersecurity by the Biden administration. As big as the impacts of an identity first approach are on the employee experience, and on zero trust security, they're probably even a bigger impact on the customer experience. Customers are demanding amazing digital experiences. The bar is high. Every app that does it raises the bar for every other app. Customers, they want a digital experience that is contextual, frictionless, and of course secure. Because the competition, it's only one click away. And with identity as the foundation, product teams can build experiences where a customer arrives at a website and enjoys the digital experience and isn't bothered by sign-up or sign-in pages that cause friction. They purchase merchandise securely through integrations while eliminating fraud. They get notifications and personalized recommendations. All of this is made possible with an identity-first approach. When a company is doing identity-first well, what does that look like? We have a bunch of great examples in our customer base. Look at these amazing brands, these amazing companies. They have all adopted an identity-first approach, and we're lucky to have them all as customers. Many of these customers use Auth0 in their apps instead of building identity themselves. Let's dive deeper to learn about Auth0 and how it helps power an identity-first approach.
We did it. We made the app. That's only half the story. Soon, with a little luck, we'll have a ton of people using and loving our product. That means user accounts, authentication, security. You know the drill. But this part right here can be just as important as the app itself, because behind this login box is a lot of your users' information. And they're trusting you to keep it safe. It's important, but it doesn't have to be hard. That's why we use Auth0. It's an identity platform for developers that makes it easy to connect any app, like ours, to the authenticators and integrations we need. But wait, I bet you're like, we could do that ourselves. It's not that hard. We know what we're doing. First, I hear you. Second, are you sure? Users want security and flexibility. You want to give them all the newest sign-in options as soon as they're available, because they want to use your app on their terms, not yours. With Auth0, I can easily customize my login with the features my users want. I can create a custom two-factor authenticator for added security and easily enable the multi-factor authentication methods I want. It even has breached password detection, so if someone else has a security breach, I can keep my users safe. Our security is always up to date and regulation compliant. You made an app, and Auth0 makes a better, safer experience for your users.
We have another exciting guest here at Showcase21. I'm honored to be joined by Eugenio Pace, who's the co-founder and CEO of Auth0, and now part of the Okta team.
Hello, Todd. It's great to be here.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too.
So this is a really important and transformational time in our company's history. This is a big combination. And we came together as two companies making one company with a lot of visions for having a big impact and really transforming the industry, and a lot of assumptions about the preconditions that made this important and made it work. When you look at, now that we've been working together for 6 months, when you look at the landscape, how are our assumptions doing?
Yeah, well, it's been a very intense, exciting, and fun 6 months, I will tell you that. I think the biggest thing
Is it that order? Intense?
Yes, intense, exciting and fun. But one of the first things that I came to realize is that, we talk about this $30 billion TAM. That's 30B as in billion. And I think we might be a little bit conservative. I think the opportunity might be even larger than we thought. And there's many data points for that. One data point is that, as you said, our combined businesses are $400 million of annual recurring revenue businesses growing at almost 55%, which is,
by the way, which is very cool. It wasn't many years ago then. We were both little startups.
We were, yeah. It took us like 7 years to get to 100 million. Now we are, 1 year and a half, we're here. It's just amazing. So to me, that high growth at scale is one of the data points for the opportunity. The second data point is that when we were able to look deeper into our products, into our go-to-market, we just discovered that our actual overlap, was only 2%. So, of all the things that we could be doing, we only encounter each other in a very small number of cases.
Yeah, that's really critical because the assumption was that while there was some overlap in some of the capabilities, they were really adjacent companies in going after different parts of the market. And so it's really good to see that validated in the actual comparing the data and comparing the customers.
To me, that's a sign of the enormous surface area that we can now cover together.
Absolutely. Now that's kind of at a high level, talking about some assumptions. What about when we get into the details on the ground? What are we learning at the 6 month milepost?
A lot of things, but the one takeaway and the most important takeaway from an outside perspective is this accelerated growth. Auth0's brand, the ability for us to close more deals and to close them faster, all of that happened while we were doing this, which is not an easy thing to do. And the business has not slowed down. I think customers are voting, putting a vote of confidence on what we're doing, not what we're doing today, but also what we're doing in the future, which is equally important.
Yeah, super, super positive signs all around. We both, speaking of assumptions and our plans for the integration, we both know that acquisitions are hard. And a lot of them don't live up to the hype, and whether it's for a strategic reason or the execution isn't right, they don't live up to the visions of the people that put them together.
Yeah.
So when you think about us coming together, how do you think about the risks and what we can do to minimize those risks and maximize the upside?
Well, first of all, I am determined to make this a success, one. Second, I want to be the exception to the rule. And it's true that it's hard, but in life, there's things in life that are hard, but not necessarily valuable. But all valuable things are typically hard, and I think this is one of those cases. And so, the reason I'm confident on us succeeding with this, it's two things. One is what we do. What we do, we are a company for which identity is not a means to an end; it's the end. This is all we do. This is what we do. But the second component, and probably the more important component, is how we go around doing business. That talks about our culture, our deep care about our people, our teams, our product, or the problem that we solve, our customers. I think certainly our companies are different, but they are compatible. And I think in that compatibility lies our complementarity. And being complementary is where strength is.
One of the most interesting things about starting a company and building a company is you get to see how early the culture is inlaid in the company based on early experiences and early decisions. And it's interesting to work more with you and the Auth0 team and see the respective strengths, as you mentioned. I think on the Okta side, we grew up selling to CIOs, chief security officers, building this policy framework that can be broadly applied across many different types of users and groups, and very directory based. On the Auth0 side, it was really about developer. The developer is the most important thing. Create that experience, and I think that those are two cultural distinctions that we want to enhance and maintain and preserve, because I think they're very valuable as we approach this market. There's also things that are the same. This focus on transparency, communication, trust. As we put the integration plans together, how have you seen those values come into play? Specifically the ones that are different, but also the ones that are the same.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned a great example for how we complement the audience. In this case, IT and developers. It's great. Look, in our business, trust is the underlying fabric. Without it, nothing would be possible, internally and externally. Our customers rely on us for the most valuable assets, the digital assets. If they don't trust us, then it's kind of like pointless. And so our focus on trust has been from day one, actually from our founding. Both companies were founded with that embedded in their DNA.
And as you said, we're the identity company, so it'd be hard to get here,
Yes.
both of us, without that. It's kind of...
Exactly. But a big component of trust is our transparency and share, what we're doing, what our plans are, because our customers are betting on us, not for a short-term solution, and they're betting for us for life, hopefully for the entire of their existence, and that requires trust. That requires knowledge of what we're doing. I think we also another common component that we share is our passion for innovation. It's in one of the called out core values of the company. You call it never stop innovating. We call it N+1 greater than N. It means exactly the same. It's always becoming better and better and better. And I think that's another great asset that we share.
So we talked a lot about how Auth0 is built for developers, but seeing is believing. We're developers, we want to see it in action. So let's check out this video that gives us a glimpse into the products.
Today, I'm going to show how you can add advanced security features, advanced authentication, and much more very easily in any application using the Auth0 platform. We're going to start with a very simple app. My app, all it does, it's a website that generates random numbers. Let's take a look at the code that does this. For this, I'm going to use Node.js. Node.js, it's a very popular framework for building websites, widely adopted, and uses a JavaScript language as the main language for a runtime. So just to prove that this is actually running, we're going to generate random numbers from 0 to 100. Save, run again, there you go, 64, random. If I refresh, every time I refresh on my screen, I see a new random number being generated. Great, I have an app running. Now that I have an app running, I need to add authentication to protect access to my site. I am going to add authentication to make sure that users are legitimate users of this site and not anonymous. So I create sign up, create a new account, and the first thing I will see is the creation of an account. The next thing I will do is just to connect it with my app. And for that I go create an application, and then I'm presented with this question. What technology are you using for your project? And there's a lot of technologies that developers use in the world for creating applications. There's .NET developers, there's Java developers, there's Node.js developers, JavaScript developers like myself. And I click on there. So I have two paths here, and guess what? I already have an application. I know how to code in Node.js, so I follow that tutorial. And then there's a specific instruction on how to integrate Auth0 with my app. It looks like I need to install a module. I install the module, and then there's code that I need to paste into my system, to my own system, to make that connection happen. Conveniently, the code is there, and conveniently too, there is a copy-paste little button on the dashboard that I can use. So I did that, copy, I go back to my code, and I will add the code from Auth0. And also, very conveniently, all the configuration of my Auth0 account, it's already included in this code snippet. So now, to make things a little bit more interesting, when a user logs in, I see who this user is. So now I want to save this again. All these changes are committed into my code. I go back to the website, to my website, and if I click on give me a random number, voila! Now I don't get a random number. What I get is a login screen, which is exactly what I wanted. So now I can enter a username and a password, and I can click continue to log in into my application. I'm logged in, I see my email, and I still see my random numbers being generated, which is awesome. If you notice here, some policies for passwords are being presented, which is awesome. Go back to the dashboard, go to authentication methods, and go to this username and password authentication. And I see this password policy section, which is where things were set up. I can request special characters, special length, and Auth0 guides me and tells me whether it's good, fair, bad. All of that guidance is embedded in here, which is awesome, really easy to use. But that's not the only thing they give me. There's also this password history for preventing reuse of passwords that you used in the past, which is great. It also allows me to check against the 10,000 most common passwords that people use wrongfully in all systems. Like number one is password, the word password. But other ones that are like, you could argue that are more difficult to guess. Well, with one checkbox, I can go and see and make sure that nobody is using passwords that are weak. What else can I do? I hear that security is important and these are good methods, but another mechanism for assuring that customers are who they say they are, my users are who they say they are, I can do things like multi-factor authentication. And thankfully, there's a section under security where I can go, it's multi-factor authentication, and I'm presented with tons of options, many options there. There's all kinds of ways you can add a second factor authentication into your app. So for this demo, I'm going to choose a simple one. These are one-time passwords. These are the codes that are generated in a device, numbers that change over time. That's common and popular and reasonably secure to add to your systems. All I need to do is turn the switch on in my Auth0 account and then say for under which circumstances I want MFA to be enabled. I'm going to say always. Now I'm not going to make any distinction. So turn that on. Now that rule is enabled in my account. Let's go back to my system, log out again, and let's see what happens. So I log out. I'm presented back to my login screen. I log in with let's say my username and password. If I can type, go ahead, and now, voila, there's another screen in there that says verify your identity and enter your one-time code. Of course, I enrolled my application in my account earlier today, and I'm going to be using Okta Verify. Okta Verify is one of the many, many apps you can use to generate these standards-based one-time passwords. And so in this case, for my account, let's see if I can type correctly, 931-237, that's a one-time code. And there you go, I'm logged in again, now with MFA included in my app. So now I'm doubly protected. There's an account, the strong account, and there's also an MFA challenge that is being presented to me, which of course happens only once in this case. Great, with that done now. And of course, in this case, I'm enabling this always, so all the time, every time you logged in, which is of course not convenient. For user experience reasons, you might want to tweak how you do that. You might turn that using adaptive MFA. So only when certain conditions change, I'm in a different network, I'm in a different city, I'm using a different device. All of that is included in the box in Auth0 for you, zero code changes in my application. In these few minutes, I showed you from nothing to the most advanced authentication features in the world with zero effort with Auth0. Thank you.
That looked great. Amazing demo.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. You think that's a good business, random numbers?
Well, I have the domain now, randomzero.com.
You should change it to random NFTs. It'd be taken off.
Well, adding a zero at the end, I think it's a good practice now. We can say that.
Wonderful, wonderful. As you can see, it's an amazing product, purpose-built for developer experience and making sure it's super simple and seamless for a developer building a solution to get exactly the value they need quickly. When Eugenio and I talk to customers, we've talked to a ton of them over the last 6 months. One of the questions they always ask us is, okay, so which SIAM product, which platform are you keeping? It always strikes us as a little odd because they're both so distinct and so important. The answer is an unequivocal both. They're both multi-$100-million businesses. They have tons of customers on them, and they're distinct and serve different use cases. Of course, there's some overlap. We have common things like multi-factor authentication in some of the pieces, but they're absolutely both imperative. And not only are we keeping them both, we're investing heavily and aggressively in both to fully flush out this complete solution for this customer identity market. And this market is massive, and the only way to capture it is with both of these platforms.
Yeah, I think the problem of using the same label, so we use SIAM to describe this space, is that it's like saying, storage. Under the same category, you can have like databases, and within databases, there are tons of different variations. Same happens here. SIAM is a vast space. There's like tons of use cases. And the way I see it is that now we have even more building blocks that we can combine to make a better solution. Our customers have more choice. But in addition to the, are you keeping both both platforms? Another question that we get is, when should I use each block? You know, what is
Guide me, show me the way.
Show me the way. And so there's nuance because again, it's a massive space. But generally speaking, there's like two like high-level guidelines that we would give, you know, any customer. One is like, if your use cases in SIAM are extensions to your workforce use cases, or you have like complex deployments with lots of legacy, or you intend to keep a single directory with a mix of identities in it, you're probably better off starting with Okta. If on the other hand, you're a software shop, you're building software, you run a ton of developers, and you know, with customizations and etc., then you're probably more likely to start with Auth0 and be successful, because that's what we build Auth0 for, is for developers.
Yeah, and it gets back to that history of the companies too. At Okta, the first thing we built was this robust directory infrastructure and the system to map the different data sources. And so as the platforms evolved, Okta more evolved on the directory and the policy layer, while Auth0 in a complementary way evolved on the developer experience.
But also the good news is that both systems work together already. You can connect, you can log into an Auth0 protected application with Okta. You can do all kinds of other interesting things with both platforms, which is, you know, awesome.
Yeah, it reminds me, another core value is just connecting to everything. We're an identity company, right? So you got to connect to everything. So it's not a stretch to connect the systems together today.
No, I mean, we have many customers using us already. And in fact, we have one that we wanted to show everybody. This is MassMutual, being a customer of ours and Okta for a long time. They have a really interesting story to share. Chris, welcome to Showcase. Thank you so much for joining us. MassMutual has been in business for 170 years serving customers, and I'm sure you've seen a fair amount of change and evolution and innovation redefining customer experience.
MassMutual as an organization has grown largely by acquisition. So what over the years has turned out to look like is all of these siloed identity stores. And MassMutual as a brand really wanted to present to the market a singular brand, a singular experience for all of these different types of people. Customers have come to expect a relatively frictionless experience, and one that feels and behaves familiar to them, one that's intuitive. I found that it was really important that we embedded into that experience a variety of security controls that were completely obfuscated from the customer, so that they didn't have to feel the friction or feel the existence of these things. We wanted them to have a really smooth experience, and Auth0's allowed us to do that exactly the way we were hoping to get it done.
You bring a really good point. You know, usually security and user experience are things that are thought to be at odds. So I guess a key takeaway is that it is possible. You're actually doing it, which is awesome.
Auth0 offers a lot of capabilities out of the box, things that we would have had to build on our own. We wanted to focus our attention on the actual look and feel of the site and all the other elements that go into making it secure, while taking advantage of the fact that Auth0 is going to be in the background taking care of a lot of the operations that need to exist for an authentication and identity proofing service that we built. But it also provided us with all this flexibility so that we could customize that experience specific to what our designers had in mind.
That's great. 2021 has been such an incredible year for Auth0 as we joined forces with Okta. So I'm curious about your take on this opportunity.
I think it's a great opportunity. Clearly, Okta and Auth0 are leaders in their spaces. Only great things can come from the synergy of the two organizations. And looking forward to all the new capabilities that you'll build together, and just continue to add value to customers like MassMutual.
Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, Eugenio.
It's one thing to hear Eugenio and I talk about how excited we are. It's a whole nother level to hear the great story from Chris at MassMutual about the value they're seeing from the platform. So for customers, this is a winning scenario. It means more product option, but that's not enough. It's more than just the products. This is a complex space, and we're here to help. We're growing our teams to better serve our customers in designing, building, and supporting identity, all things identity. We're building out the largest field organization in the market with hundreds of open positions globally. And it's also, of course, about building the right products. The products are foundational to everything we do. Right, Eugenio?
Indeed. And, you know, I mentioned this before. CIAM is a big, big space. And today, undoubtedly, the combined platform is the best platform in the market for CIAM. But that doesn't mean that we're done. You know, because as we lead into this space, we discover more things that we can do, more problems that we can solve for our customers. And so there's a lot of innovation that we can bring to the market. And today, we're going to show some of that. At least we start with the Auth0 side of things with a couple demos from Matt Denek.
Thanks, Eugenio. Since our beginning, the application builders and developers that we serve have loved Auth0 for three things: our easy-to-use platform of developer tools, our quick start options to get you up and running fast, and our multi-cloud deployment options. This is how we help them solve their complex identity use cases now and in the future. We're going to show you three new things today: Auth0 Actions, Auth0 Organizations, and the Auth0 Identity Platform on Microsoft Azure. We'll start by taking a look at a B2B SaaS company in the property management space called PropertyZero. PropertyZero is a global rental listing SaaS platform that enables large and small property owners to easily promote and manage their properties. To get started, Vanessa, the PropertyZero admin, creates a new Auth0 account and gets ready to set up PropertyZero on the Auth0 Identity Platform. Vanessa clicks through the setup wizard and configures her private cloud tenant on Microsoft Azure. She chooses her region, selects the country to deploy in, and sets a geo failover region. Next, she sets her tenant name and her desired release window for her production environment. One last check, and then she's ready to get her tenant up and running. Vanessa then receives an email confirmation that her Auth0 Identity Platform has been deployed in Microsoft Azure. She logs into the Auth0 dashboard to get started with customizing her environment. Keeping up with their rapid international growth has been a huge challenge for Vanessa, as each new customer requires her to create custom authentication configurations while maintaining customizations for her existing customers. She's been looking for a way to provide self-serve tools and a better onboarding experience for her business customers to help her scale fast. This is exactly why we built Auth0 Organizations. Auth0 Organizations is a purpose-built business customer identity solution for B2B SaaS companies like PropertyZero. Leveraging Organizations, PropertyZero can now provide a self-serve sign-up experience for their new business customers, as well as simple branding tools to manage their organization going forward. New PropertyZero customer Kelly at Acme Realty visits the PropertyZero website to create her new account by clicking Sign Up. She's prompted to enter her organization name and her email address. She clicks Sign Up and receives an email to complete the PropertyZero sign-up process. On the back end, in the Auth0 dashboard, we can see that this has created an organization on the PropertyZero tenant called Acme Realty. PropertyZero's integration with Auth0 using the Organizations APIs resulted in the creation of all things related to Acme Realty's organization. And all of this as a result of that simple sign-up flow. Acme Realty's newly created organization on PropertyZero can be further customized, adding a logo and changing the color palette of their screen to match the look and feel of their own branding. These self-serve tools enable Acme Realty to create and manage their own organization without the need for PropertyZero admins to engage. Let's visit Acme Realty's newly created homepage on PropertyZero and sign into our account. Since PropertyZero's sign-in screen requires customers to sign into their specific organization, this Auth0 hosted page prompts us to enter it here. We'll enter Acme Realty. We're now taken to that same Acme Realty sign-in page, and we can see that the branding and logo changes we made have been applied. Let's enter our owner's credentials and get signed in securely. So what happened under the hood throughout that sign up and sign in process? Let's take a look in the Auth0 dashboard. You'll first see in the overview section that the information that was entered during sign up regarding the organization name is present. Clicking on the Members tab, we can see our first member, it's Kelly. Kelly's the owner of Acme Realty. Clicking on the owner, we can see the assigned roles this member has. In Kelly's case, she's the owner. This allows Acme Realty to set specific privileges related to the invitation as well as the administration of their organization. Finally, clicking on connections, we can see that a database connection was configured for the Acme Realty organization. That's it. In just a few clicks, Acme Realty is now ready to list and manage their properties on the Property0 platform, leveraging the out-of-the-box screens and organization's APIs. Since every business is unique, one of the biggest barriers to scale is being able to customize the login workflow to deliver a digital customer experience that is uniquely tailored to each individual customer. This next-generation extensibility requirement is exactly why we've introduced Auth0 Actions. Auth0 Actions are a cornerstone to our overall extensibility offering at Auth0. With Actions, you can add essential custom logic to your login and identity flows to meet your specific needs. Actions can be used in many different scenarios, from fetching information about users from a legacy data store, to executing logic based on the user's current behavior, and even to connect external integrations from the Auth0 marketplace that enhance your overall extensibility experience. Best of all, multiple actions can be associated with a flow, with each action executing in the order it was placed using a simple drag and drop interface. For Property0, they want to make it easy for new business customers to sign up for a subscription to their platform by leveraging information from Salesforce, or by creating a new contact with business owner details in Salesforce if no contact information about that owner pre-exists. Leveraging Auth0 Actions and the Auth0 marketplace, Property0 can quickly add this no-code partner customization to their login experience. Let's create this new Salesforce login action using the drag and drop capabilities of the Actions flow editor. We drag the Salesforce object into the login flow, click apply, and that's it. Now, when a new business signs up for a subscription in Property0, an action searches Salesforce, and if a matching contact based on that email address of the business owner is found, it's automatically linked to the user account or newly created for the owner. Let's say that a new Property0 customer, Realty Friends, is about to sign up for an account. Visiting Property0's Salesforce instance, we can see that Realty Friends does not currently have a user account created. With this custom action now enabled, the new business account and owner are automatically added to the Property0 Salesforce instance at signup. Let's take a look at Realty Friends owner Tony. Tony signs up for a new account with Property0. Now, going back to Salesforce, we can see that the new Realty Friends account has been created and the owner, Tony, is listed as the contact. This reduces the onboarding time for new Property0 customers, and more importantly, it provides a faster and more secure way for Property0 customers to log into their account. That's it.
That was pretty good. Thank you, Matt.
You did a good job.
Very good job. I think, well, that was the Auth0 side of things, but I think...
Well, I want to talk about this a little more.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about in that demo? So much cool stuff there.
Well, it's like asking what's your favorite child.
Yeah, CEOs try to please everyone.
Yes, exactly.
I know, you have your own favorites, just like I do.
No, I think I'm personally excited. Don't tell anybody.
I won't, yeah, it's just between us.
It's the multi-cloud offering.
Yeah.
I think that's a really unique thing because it builds on our neutrality and like being independent.
For sure.
And I think it just gives more choice to our customers. It talks to our commitment to our global expansion. So I like all those dimensions of that effort.
Yeah, and Auth0, you can buy Auth0 on AWS as a private tenant, or now on the Azure platform as private.
On Azure and AWS, anywhere where there's Azure or where there's AWS, which is pretty good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
For me, I think the organization's capability is really exciting. I think this is underappreciated. There's going to be thousands and thousands of new B2B SaaS apps built over the next 10 years. Yes. And they're all building their own auth.
Yeah.
They shouldn't.
Shouldn't. That's crazy. And in fact, that specific feature talks about one of these, value that we unlocked. And now we are working together because it's kind of the other side of the coin of the workforce use case.
Yeah.
So you have on one side companies securing employees, consuming SaaS applications that are now being protected by Auth0, and now the organization feature ties directly into that specific use case. So, I think it's very close to my level of excitement with Azure.
Now you're almost getting into the Octane announcements. We're not at Octane yet, Eugenio.
We are not, but I'm looking forward to it, and I know it's going to be like, one day we wake up and say, oh, Octane is here.
That's right.
Do all these things again. But I think you have also a few interesting and exciting new features on the Okta side too.
Yeah, it's not just the Auth0 team that's making a ton of progress. The Okta SIAM team is charging ahead as well, innovating on the Okta SIAM platform. And today, we're going to launch these new capabilities, and they're focused on low-code and no-code, ease of customization for quick deployments, and incredibly fast time to value. The first is a new branding capability, and this makes it much easier. It makes it very easy to tailor your identity touchpoints with customers and go live faster without adding custom code. So you see the value of if you don't have as many developers, you can go fast with a very low-code environment on the Okta side. Second is a new device authorization grant, which provides secure end-user access to TV apps, kiosks, video game platforms, things that have input-constrained devices, all while reducing registration and login friction. So the next time you have to register that new device for Netflix, you can use this to get that TV hooked up really quickly without a bunch of complex sign-in. So these are the kinds of digital experience our customers are trying to make, and this capability makes that far, far easier. And then finally, the Okta SIAM now supports custom admin roles, which help ensure that your admins have least privileges, which means when you're implementing and managing customer identities, to make sure that they are constrained to only the minimum amount of access they need, which increases your security posture and helps you meet those privacy and compliance requirements. One of the customers who helped show the way for Okta and so many others is Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Here you've got a great organization that is working with Okta to create a unified workforce and customer identity experience. Their identity-first strategy has really propelled their business, helping them to work through security and access pain points. Let's hear their story with Okta's Chief Product Officer, Diya.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Venky.
Thanks for inviting me, Diya.
A lot of our audience may be familiar with Hewlett-Packard Enterprise already, being such a massive and well-known business around the world with billions in revenue. But what a lot of people may not realize is how HPE is rethinking the way it offers its product and services to customers.
A couple of years ago, our CEO laid out the vision for HPE as an edge-to-cloud company delivering solutions in an as-a-service model. For superior customer experience, modernizing our technology stack and our identity and access management is a key foundational pillar for the transformation. Since this is the front door and the first experience for the customer, partner, or employee, we want that experience to be the best customer experience.
That is something we're hearing from a lot of our customers who are going through similar transformations. One of the themes that keeps coming up from our customers is how identity has become primary and critical in allowing them to solve these incredibly complex challenges across their entire technology stack, from employee-facing to customer-facing. HPE has a very innovative approach to dealing with these problems. Can you tell us what your vision is and where you are in this transformation?
Sure. When we started our transformation to an as-a-service model, we started with building the personas. HPE needed one identity service for customers, partners, and workforce that was reliable, worked across the technology stack, and helped meet security and compliance requirements. HPE needs identity to just work to enable complex requirements.
So in all of this, Venky, why is working with a neutral and independent identity provider important to helping achieve this vision?
Our IAM program goals are to have one IAM solutions for both workforce and customer and partners to enable that unified, superior customer experience. A single authorization, a single authentication for applications that are based on best-of-breed standards and delivered via standard microservices, whether that be new user registrations, whether enrollment, authentication, entitlements, compliance, etc. Role-based access across these applications is a critical pain point for unified customer experience. Okta enables HPE's vision of having the single platform for workforce and customer identities.
As you demonstrate at HPE, the SIAM needs of customers are vast and complex, which is one of the reasons we acquired Auth0. They complement our own SIAM offering and help customers solve identity challenges while coming from a different perspective.
That's why we are so aligned with your vision. Okta's Identity Cloud Platform enables HPE's IAM vision as a platform that is best in class, cloud native, edge-centric, and built on a platform that's extensible, democratized, and flexible. Having a single unified authorization and authentication framework is a critical part of HPE's vision. That is why Okta plus Auth0 helps us accelerate towards our vision. The future of work is hybrid. Employees, customers, partners need access to applications, infrastructure from anywhere, and adoption of the cloud has accelerated. Hence, adopting a zero-trust-based approach for enhanced security becomes critical. IAM becomes a critical and a foundational pillar for zero-trust framework.
Yeah, it's really great to see how aligned we are. HPE is one of the most innovative companies we've worked with from an identity perspective. And so much of our roadmap has come from working with you guys and innovating with you. So I'm looking forward to that a lot over the next couple of years. Thank you so much for joining us today, Venky.
Look, identity is complex. Okta is the right partner to solve these challenges with. We share your excitement for the future and innovation ahead. Thank you for inviting me.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, it's a cool story. HPE, Hewlett-Packard, iconic tech company, all these changes, whether it's cloud, digital experiences, remote work, even they have to really invest and reinvent and become identity first.
And look, I get it. We understand what we do in detail, all the corner cases and use cases, and we get excited. I get certainly excited. I think you are too. But nothing like hearing from real world stories when we see our technology in action, which is just awesome.
Yeah, that's why we do it.
Great story.
It gets me all
Oh,
pumped
but
up.
before we jump to the next topic, I need to ask you. So what was your favorite feature?
My favorite feature on Okta SIAM is the new grant authorizations, because I recently switched to YouTube TV.
Yeah.
So I had to go re-register Apple TV and all
Yes.
these other devices, and it was
You don't want to do that.
it was I can see the need for that kind of flow and making a great customer experience in personal use. So it's pretty cool that our customers will be able to do that for their use cases as well.
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
So I love the customer stories. I love being inspired by what they're doing. And as we close it out, I just want to thank all of you, our 13,000 plus customers around the world, and our 4,200 plus employees globally. We know what a gift it is to have your trust, and your success will always be our top priority. It's been a great morning here in San Francisco in the office, and I hope you've enjoyed hearing from Okta and Auth0. We're excited about the journey ahead together. Any thoughts, Eugenio, as we close it out?
Yeah, well, I will echo your words in terms of thanking all our customers, all the thousands of customers that use our technology every day. I also thank our teams for making that a reality. And as I said before, we are just barely starting, and the best is yet to come.
So if you're excited about the momentum, the customer stories, the product launches, we're just getting started. And we're looking forward to seeing everyone, our whole community, hopefully live and in person at Octane 22 this spring. Thanks everyone for joining us. And that's a wrap on Showcase 21.